Okay, you can see me. Something was wrong with my streaming. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we are going to talk about FANI Willis' assistant. FANI Willis' assistant, I guess birds of a feather flock together. She has an attitude problem, and she's been, or actually, the judge has been quite upset about the prosecutor and the defense attorney, the way that they're handling this trial. He feels as if they're just dragging their feet and they're not together. They don't got their ducks in a row. But Fani Willis, assistant, Adrian Love, she's been knocking heads with the judge, and she's been knocking heads so much with the judge, you think she will be held in contempt, but he has not done that yet. So we're going to discuss that today, all on another episode of Business Talk.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
Okay, you guys put in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. Please put in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. Let's see who we have in the building. We have LRNCM. What's going on? Noble Young, what is good with you? Burgundy Blue commentary. If you don't follow Burgundy Blue, she's been covering the village of Dalton. Go give her a follow. Thank you for the super chat, Burgundy. I really appreciate you. We have Lexi in the building. Lexi, thank you for tuning in once again. Okay, let's get started. Oh, and the big picture. The big picture. Thank you for tuning in as well. Let's get started on this. What I want to show you guys. Okay, so your girl, Fani Willis, I guess, assistant attorney. I'm using the words birds of a feather flock together because they come with this disrespectful stuff. They don't know how to respect the court. I don't know if it's a thing with Black women, but it's a thing. And it's starting to look really bad. And maybe it's an Atlanta thing. Let's say it's an Atlanta thing, because Fani Willis, we covered her trial, or her disqualification trial, that hearing. And Fani Willis, her lawyers was trying to protect her so she wouldn't have to testify. And Fani Willis busted in the courtroom and said, okay, I'm going to testify anyway because I'm tired of y'all lying on me. She came in with, all the rah-rah shish kumbaya. She was very disrespectful to the judge, but I don't think she was as disrespectful to the judge as this lady here, this Adrian Love. Adrian Love is off the chain. Now this is not the first time she did this, okay? She's done this a couple of times before. Now, this video that I'm sharing with you, let me make sure you can see it. Let me make sure you guys can see it. Okay, you can see my screen. Now, this was just recently. This just happened, okay? Where Fani Willis, Adrian Love, I guess they were trying to suppress some evidence, and the judge was like, okay, well, did you talk to, no, they were trying to admit some evidence, and the defense attorney was like, no, you shouldn't allow this to be admitted in. And the judge got really irritated because she tried to do this at the last minute after he already had told them, do not do stuff at the last minute. So he was really pissed off about it. So this is their exchange.
On why didn't we file this stuff months ago, and let's wind it out and air it out at that point in time. Okay, so I'm going to ask the state their issue on this. Are you cutting this out? Did you have discussions with Mr. Sharp, madam?
We did have discussions.
When?
Well, this morning.
That's too late. The evidence is excluded. The evidence is excluded. I'm going to exclude because I told you that this was going to happen.
We reached out to them.
No. We're excluding that,
Your Honor.
and I'm going to exclude the PowerPoint that you all submitted. Well, you're not going to wholesale introduce it.
We had no intention. Your Honor,
All right.
let us be real clear. We did not intend to introduce this PowerPoint today. I personally reached out via telephone and called at least 2 members of the defense team and asked them to call me back. And I would like
But you all should not be identifying this stuff the moment of trial while the jury's sitting in a box. This is the last. I am not going to tolerate this any further. If you don't get together with your colleagues and flag issues and resolve them promptly, and if I have to take them up, remember, I can exclude them. We'll work the weekends, or we'll do a combination of both. So this time, I'm going to exclude those 2 sections.
Your Honor, Mr. Atkins, he confronted this witness with those sections. I last week let them know that we were introducing that.
If the exhibit's not ready and you haven't made no, well, Mr. Sharp's got objections to it.
But Judge, Mr. Sharp can get in and have our evidence excluded every day that he makes an objection
No.
at midnight, and then comes in and says.
Well, then you all should have gotten your stuff together before then. Summon our juries, please. Summon our juries. Have a seat, madam. Have a seat. You better exclude that, and next time, make sure you're prepared.
Judge,
Make sure you're prepared next time. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just not. We are starting right now. It's 1:20. So
we have talked to them. We have said we don't agree.
then file a motion and get it before me, and we'll take it up. Both of you all have equally responsibility to do that.
Inadmissible. The information they are seeking.
Oh, it's going to be inadmissible right now.
I'm saying, Judge, that you said to file a motion. There's nothing.
I'm not going to have any more discussion about this, madam. I'm not.
We talked to them this morning
I don't.
about that.
Well, you know what?
And I attempted to try to talk to them earlier this week.
Well, then that's why we have to.
Your Honor, so the court punishes the state because the defense.
I'm not punishing anybody, but but prior preparation prevents poor performance.
Be prepared, Judge. That's why I sent them what I sent them last week, a whole week and a half ago, 2 weeks. Your
I'm
Honor.
not. Well,
And I have said I would like to discuss.
our jury's coming in, madam. Our jury's coming in. Have a seat.
So that was their exchange. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think about this. To me, this is a little bit on the crazy side. Is this normal? Is this normal and customary for a judge and a prosecutor to be going back and forth? Usually when he makes his ruling, the prosecutor or the defense attorney usually shuts up. Isn't that how it normally happens? When the judge makes their ruling, the ruling is final. You don't go back and forth. And then you can actually file a motion. Like he said, well, you could file a motion to, and then I'll take it up. But you're literally arguing with the judge. I just don't understand that. So like I said, you guys let me know. Let me know. Somebody put, ma'am, take several seats. Exactly. Take several seats. He should have held her in contempt. That's what normally will happen. And I don't know if it's because this judge is black. Maybe that's what is going on here. Maybe they're the dynamics, and maybe they know each other outside the courtroom. But if I was him, I'd nip that in the butt. I would have held her in contempt. Kevin Walker, if she was Trump lawyer, she would have been filed in contempt of court. Exactly. Mimi's tea time. I was born in 1963. We didn't act like that. What you see today, they didn't. I mean, we didn't. Back then, you didn't even have the luxury to. I mean, to act like that. Now they have TVs in the courtrooms, and they probably looking at black folks like, what the hell is going on? Is this the kangaroo court? Like, this is nonsense. So like I said, this is not the first time this happened. This is not the first time this happened. About a month ago, this very same thing happened. And he had to say, just stop it. I made my ruling. And this is it.
Slime Life RICO trial involving hip-hop star Young Thug and 5 of his co-defendants. Channel 2's Michael Seid now live outside the Fulton County Courthouse. And Michael, the jury did not get to hear any testimony, right?
Yeah, Justin, you know, jurors were told to report here to the courthouse 9:30 this morning, but they never heard any testimony. That's because there was a motion hearing, and during that motion hearing, things got really tense. Tense moments inside a Fulton County courtroom during the Young Slime Life RICO trial.
I'm sorry, I'm talking, and I don't know why I am being interrupted. I will not stop.
Hey.
I was speaking.
Miss Love. Y'all got.
I'm sorry, I was speaking.
Both y'all can't talk at the same time.
I know, I was speaking, and I expect to be allowed to speak when I'm speaking.
Hey, both of you all need to just take it down a notch.
Defense attorney Doug Weinstein squaring off against prosecutor Adrian Love.
Your Honor, I apologize for interrupting the state earlier, but the state can talk the ears off a donkey.
We are simply asking that the court allow us the opportunity to present the evidence and to not hold it against the state that I am asking this.
Weinstein, who's representing Diamante Kendrick, who raps under the name Yak Gotti, filed a motion to suppress a 2015 police interrogation video involving his client after he claims investigators violated Kendrick's rights.
He requested his lawyer. He invoked his right to not speak anymore.
But prosecutor Adrian Love argued that the interview should be admitted as evidence because after asking for his lawyer, Kendrick then changed his mind and agreed to continue his conversation with investigators.
I cannot in good faith not present evidence when we have a whole burden of proof to show the court that it was made freely and voluntarily.
Judge Ural Glanville sided with the defense. He also gave the prosecution an earful.
You continually engage in this pattern of behavior, Miss Love. You don't want to accept my ruling.
Your Honor,
I know you're being an advocate, but at some point, stop. Just stop. I made my ruling.
All right, so testimony is expected to continue tomorrow at 9:30. We are live in downtown Atlanta. Michael Seid, Channel 2 Action News.
At the Dennis Law Firm, services every.
You know what? I say this is really sad because these are two Black individuals. You have a DA, a prosecutor that's a Black female, and you have a judge that's over the court. And her giving him, it's nothing wrong, being the advocate, like he just said. It's not. I don't think it's nothing wrong with, giving pushback to what you feel is right and necessary when you arguing towards the defense team. But when you just pushing the judge to a certain point where he feels as if you're trying to what is it called? Not accept him as the authority figure in this. It's totally disrespectful to me. And I think he sees it as disrespectful. Get notice with Nikki. Actually, it is. I've seen it several times. People get hot in the court, and there is a space for that, as we all are human. She went to the Darrell Brooks School of Law. Who's Darrell Brooks? I don't know that name. I guess that's some person I should be familiar with. Anyway, most likely they do know each other outside the courtroom. Yeah, I think it is. I think they know each other. But it does sound like a reality show. And it's like, okay, you have two DAs, district attorneys, Fannie Willis and Adrian Love. Both of them be acting like that. I could just imagine being a judge in Fulton County. Both of y'all act like that in the court. Real crazy. Like he said, you don't want to accept my ruling after I made it. You know, that to me, that's a little bit on the extreme side. It says, then you understand when I say our butts, we turn red, us acting stupid, as my dad said. Oh, you talking about getting a spanking. Kevin Walker said, you think she was in a Judge Mathis? She was a Judge Mathis instead of a real court. Right. I was watching, I think his name was Godfrey. He was on Shannon Sharp. And I don't know if you guys, he's a comedian. I forget what his first name is. But he was saying that how Black folks, I guess he met some type of drug dealer and they was from a different nationality. I don't know if it was Cuban or some type of different nationality other than Black. Okay. Big time dope dealer. This was way back in the day. And the drug dealer was like, oh yeah, you guys, Black folks, you guys, you're trendsetters. You know, everybody wants to be like you. But as far as getting together and accomplishing stuff, he was like, you guys don't have any unity. And it's funny how other people see that in us. That's how they could, just like the Democratic, I'm getting on politics, but Democratic Party, they see that, and that's how they could take advantage of us, because they see we can't even decide on a budget item or decide on a court ruling. We have to combat each other. It's like, oh, I got to one up you. Oh, I got to have the last word. Like, prime example, Dalton, the village of Dalton. Nothing but Black folks in there. And they can't agree on what the budget should be, even though, you know, of course, Tiffany Henyard is doing some illegal activities. But like the people elected her, which are Black folks, and they can't even agree on, you know, how the meeting should run. It's really sad. It's really sad. Let me see if I can find that clip right quick. Black culture. Oh yeah. Okay.
Meet Beer Club's ultimate.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Because people say, well, Shelly, you causing all this beef.
Now they're talking about white unity versus Black unity. Black can't even organize crime. That's what he said. Black people can't even organize crime. That's really sad.
Did you know that this many comedians didn't like each other?
Listen, man, it's really sad to say this, but our community, I hate saying community. Community sounds so poor.
Are we talking about the Black community? Are we talking about comedic?
No, because the white dudes, I'm going to keep it 100, because I know a lot of white comics, and man,
they ain't beefing like
that. Hell no.
And not to, I got to cut them off like that because I don't want them to copyright strike or anything. But before he gets to that, I lived in, of course, a black neighborhood, and I lived in a white neighborhood. Right now, I'm currently residing in the white neighborhood. We live in the upper class neighborhood, quote unquote. People would say this is an upper class neighborhood, but it's just middle class. I have all my neighbors is right. There's a couple of black folks in sprinkled in there somewhere. But my two adjacent to me and across from me are two elderly white neighbors. When we got our fencing done in our backyard, we split the cost of the fencing. They didn't know us from the can of paint. And they went to my husband, oh, Pop, if you're going to get fencing, I'll pay for this half. We'll pay for this half. And so literally my husband only paid for the back part of the fencing. That's how white folks do. Can you do that in a black neighborhood? No, you got to argue. Oh, you paid this too much. Oh, no, this side is your side. Why should I pay this side? Because you're actually on this side. We don't do that. We do not come together. We do not unite. And some people, we do have some black folks. I work with some black folks that they bring their money together and do some things, but most of the time especially if it's involved with some money, it ends up in a fight. Have you guys noticed that? Or am I the only one that's noticing that? Okay, so I'll just let him speak for a minute.
I'm not saying there's not guys that don't like each other, but these motherfuckers, they will hold that solidarity. That white male solidarity, it will hold it because they all are on each other's podcasts. Rogan makes these motherfuckers kings. It's Rogan, and even though shout out to Adam Carolla because I do his, I'm a regular on his, and they share each other's shit. They get on each other's podcasts. Right. They help each other all the time. I don't even want to say this shit, but if it causes controversy, I'm down with it. We ain't shit. Real talk. We are fucking whack. Because here's the problem. We always air our grievances on public platforms. Okay. This motherfucker ain't that funny. That motherfucker. I'm like, why? I don't understand. What is this fucking addiction of calling each other out in public all the time on who's funny, who's whack? I don't understand. We're the only ones that kind of do this shit. Okay.
Yeah, and we air out our dirty laundry on and then it seemed like a crab in a barrels mentality with us. If one person is doing better than us, oh, he ain't doing better than me because he did it this way. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Just get the guy. Now, if they just doing some wrong shit, okay, that's one thing. If they doing, scheming on people, that's one thing. But just because, oh, I'm a comedian and you don't feel like he's as funny as me and he got all these jobs, well, maybe he is easier to work with. Okay. A shout out to Lar, $55 super chat. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And Kennard, I want to highlight your because I really feel that's correct. We do unify. Yeah, we unify on certain things, but we have no common goal. We can't agree that, okay, all roads lead to Rome. Okay, maybe this is not the right way, or this is not the way that I will take or the route I will take, but it leads to this particular goal that we're trying to reach. It's crazy. The judge and the prosecutor have one common goal, is to make sure justice is served. Okay, we might not take the same approach to the things, but we have the same common goal. If this YSL, and I'm using that because we was just talking about that, if he has done criminal things, organized gang crime, we want to make sure that he is fully prosecuted and he is off the streets. So he will no longer further harm individuals. But you shoot yourself in the foot when you're so combative, and then you throw the whole trial off the rail. Case in point, I guess she was arguing so much during this trial. Young Thug attorney tried to get her disbarred from the trial because she inserted herself like she knew Young Thugs. They were saying that she actually was using her firsthand knowledge because I don't know if she knows Young Thug personally, but she was using firsthand knowledge stuff. And they were saying, oh, well, she's acting like she's a witness. So maybe she should be disqualified from prosecuting him, and she should be a state witness so we could cross-examine her. But this is the things that I'm talking about. We shoot ourselves in the foot and we do not unify, but we have no common goal. You know, we can't agree on any freaking thing. We can't agree on it. And it's so sad. It's sad that we are going through that. Anyway, let's continue to listen to him.
And of course we watch because controversy is always fun, but I don't know why we do that. We should be on each other's podcasts. We should be like, you know, liking each other's shit, but we don't do that. I know some comics, and I got comics that don't like me. And I'm not saying any names. Shit. I got comics that don't fuck with me. I got comics that have talked shit about me, but I never let them know. They've talked shit about me. I've had comics talk shit about me to people in the business, producers who have come up to me and said, hey, are you friends with this particular person? I could say his name right fucking now. And they say, yeah, I know this guy. What's up? Well, he was saying some really disparaging things about you, but we didn't believe him. I think you should give him a call. And I call him. I say, why the fuck are you talking about me? And I've never done anything to you because I don't do anything. You can tell anybody. I mind my business, Shannon. I stay in my lane. Right. All I do is say, let me be the best comedian I can be. I don't stab people. I'm not into stabbing people in the back.
I guess that means you're doing pretty good because that's what I've been told.
What?
It comes along with the business. When you're doing well, people take shots.
They take shots at me. I've had women tell me shit. Here's the thing. When a dude is talking bad about another dude to a woman, that's bitch shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's bitch shit.
Yes.
I don't do that. I can have a beef with you, right? And if I see a girl that you know, I'm not going to say shit to her about you. That's cornball shit. But they do that to me. And I've been told by women. That's what's great is like my relationship with certain women be like, yo, I just want to let you know, you thought that was your man, blah, 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 blah. He, you know, so, and it's like, we are fucked up to each other. I'm not saying there are pockets of comics that do help each other. Black comics. Let me not. Because then they'll be like, man, how you gonna say that about the old black? It's the truth. Yeah. We don't help each other. Even on social media, motherfuckers won't like your shit to help you. DL Hughley does that shit for me all the time. He always puts my videos up. If your videos are great, he'll put it on his platform. DL always looks out. He always looks out. Man, likes my shit. Michael Blackson will like my shit sometimes. Just a little things here and there.
I guess he ain't put mine up because I'm Wendy Williams with a weight set, so he ain't putting
You're Wendy Williams with a weight set?
Yeah.
That's another thing. We don't support each other. I have plenty of stories about this. And it's not like I don't like our people because I love Black folks. But I see the things that we do to each other that is just very toxic. So I'm out here. Most of my customers are probably 99% other than me. Okay. I sell to Indians, the Arabics, whatever nationality, but most of them, probably 95% of them are white. You know, that's 95% of my customers are white. But when I do get some Black customers, and I'm not saying I should get all the support from Black people. I'm not saying that because maybe my prices are too high, maybe or you know, whatever. I'm not saying, oh, just because I'm black, you should support me. But I do feel as if when you give someone, a quote for whatever, it seems like they give you more shit, you know. Case in point, I have several stories. One particular lady I sold shutters to. We put shutters in our house. And shutters, if you know about shutters, these are custom made. It's like a door on the window. And she was very upset. One shutter, we had to take it back to our shop and remeasure or resize it. She was very upset. And number one, shutters takes a long time to get. They're not, hey, I have them in just sitting in a warehouse. No, it takes, if you order a custom shutter, it takes about 8 weeks to get. So anyway, long story short, she was so irritated. She actually tried to cancel her order after we installed them. Like, no, woman, that's not how it works. These are all custom made items. Just because you had one particular shutter that didn't work out and we're reordering it, why would you try to cancel your order? You wouldn't try to cancel your order to Home Depot. You wouldn't do that. If you ordered some shutters from Home Depot, you would and these guys would come in and probably F up your windows. You would do the same. You would be like, oh, okay, when can I expect this other shutter back? So you don't get the same treatment that they would do for your white counterparts. And to me, it's just crazy. I think, I don't know if because black folks don't trust each other, they feel like, oh, I gave you my business, you should treat me at a certain type because I'm black. Like, no, I'm going to treat you well, number one, because you're my customer, a paying customer. But I'm going to treat you just like my other customers. Now, and it's like, why do we do this to each other? We act like, and then we want a discount. Like, why do you want a discount? Do you go to Home Depot and say, oh, what can you knock out? Oh, that's too high. What can you knock out for me? You don't do that you don't hassle that with other stores. Why would you do it with your black owned businesses? I just don't understand that. And just because we black, why would you do that? I just don't understand that. You guys put it in chat.
I remember one time you did send something to me when I imitated you. Say, man, I thought we was boys, man. Yeah. I fucking don't do that shit, man. And then that was it. I never heard nothing else. But listen, that's always been a problem with us in the first place, though. It is. It's our unity. Our unity. Can I tell you a story?
Sure, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, there was a guy I knew who was a big-time drug dealer pushing mad weight. He was one of the biggest in New York City. And he was telling us, me and my boy and shit, Artie Fuqua, he was telling us, I ain't afraid of shit. I ain't afraid of nothing. He goes, but I went to China to make this deal with the mafia over there, the triads and shit. Yeah. And he goes, I'm talking to these dudes. And he goes, I ain't never been afraid of shit. But when I got into their like headquarters, they were so organized. It was scaring the shit out of me. They were so calm and so organized. They were sharp. And the guy, he's talking to the head dude, and he goes, and they're just having a small talk. He goes, the one thing about black people, he says, you guys are, you're the trendsetters. Everybody copy black people. You're so creative. Your music, your style, everybody like black people. We're jealous of you. But the one thing you don't have is unity. Very easy to break you up. Mm-hmm. Wow. And this is in the drug game. He says, we don't even lie, though. He says, we can't even organize crime. Wow. We can't even organize crime. Everybody got mafia, Italian, right? There's supposed gay mafia, Russian mafia. We got Irish mafia. And black folks can't even organize crime. Shame.
It's true, though. If you look at the crime that we have today, or the gangs we have today, what's their code? What's the gang code? They don't have any code. They just willy-nilly. The gangs that they have today, who's their leaders? They don't have none. They can't even organize crime. It's sad. Even the drug gang. If you really think about the drug gang, the big players in the drug game, they all snitched on each other. Okay. They all was killing each other because over some block or some territory, like really, if they really had a territory. But and then when the big players really got out of the mix, and then I'm talking about the 90s and stuff, you got all these smaller people or empires tried to creep up. You know, people just one-stop shop. Oh, I have, buy from me, don't buy from this guy. You buy from this guy. You know, it's like we want a piece of a corner. Look at the churches. Now, if you live in the hood, you know there's a church on every single damn corner. There's a church everywhere. Because we can't even organize religion. Oh, we believe in church, or we believe in God, but we believe the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Oh, I don't believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. I believe it's Jesus only. You know, stuff like that. But you all read from the same Bible. Can't even organize church. Can't even organize religion. You can't even organize your own household. I mean, if you really think about it, we have the most unwedded people. Number one, unwedded people, unwedded females. We have the most illegitimate children because we can't even organize our own household. It's really ridiculous. We can't even unify our own household. We got to have the last say. Everybody know what's best. I'm the woman. I know what's best. I'm the man. I know what's best. Instead of just coming together and only one person could lead. That naturally, what is one leader? If you have a household, there's only one leader in the household. I mean, there's shared responsibilities. If you're married, of course, you're supposed to talk about it. But we can't even do that. And that's why I get back to the Democratic Party. I believe the Democratic Party eventually recognized that they were able to infiltrate families, the thought process of women because of feminism movement. And this is why we're at this state. I wonder if Africa is like this. I mean, some people say, oh, go back to Africa, you know, that's the motherland. Is it like this too? You know, you got infighting with their own tribes, you know, within their own community. I just really want to know, is that just a Black America thing, or is just throughout the world?
And it's the same with comics. I'm sorry, we do not help each other. And I know guys that talk shit about me. I know guys that shit on me all the time, but I keep it moving. And it's a shame because I'm not going around talking about shit, and I like helping people. If I can help, I'm the first motherfucker to try and help. I do. But some cats will block you out, don't want you to have shit. You know, there's other gatekeepers within the gatekeepers.
Wow.
Yeah, there's other gatekeepers.
But they are gatekeepers.
Yeah, because they can be like, well, what do you think about this guy? Oh, man, nah, man. One guy told me and told some executive that I'm a joke thief. And one thing I don't like is someone calling me a joke thief because I'm original. And I said, don't you ever fucking call me a joke thief because you're a joke thief. You're a fucking joke. Don't ever say, but you know, we'll say shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm calling it out. Hope this gets about 60 million. Because
I think the thing with us, we like, as long as, if you're here, we're here, we cool.
Yes.
But don't get here. And you better not get here.
Which is
because then I got to try to do something to whittle you down so you come back to my level or I elevate to your level.
Or you get here and you pull the ladder up, don't let anybody else climb.
Yes.
But my thing is, I like when people, like you see a guy like Kevin Hart who brings up his boys. They're all eating. Yeah. I love that shit. He goes, oh no, you eating.
The plastic cup.
You got a million, you got a couple million, you got a nice car. That's the way you do the shit.
Yeah.
He don't owe all of
But Kevin Hart, he maybe he's better at that, but he was trying to act like people owe him. I don't know if you guys seen that. What was it? A reality show. Kevin Hart got drunk on the plane, and he started telling his boy, "Well, you wouldn't be where you at if it wasn't for me." Blah blah blah. Maybe that is true, but do you say that to a grown man? So that was kind of whack. One thing I want to bring up, if you guys haven't read Dr. Claude Anderson, Power Economics, and I believe it's in chapter 3. It's called ethno aggregation. I believe that's what it is. And the term ethno aggregation is basically one ethnicity group takes over an industry. So say for instance, you're in the trucking industry and you're trying to get your family and your community to get into the trucking industry. Okay, I operate the trucks. Okay, you're going to be the dispatcher, or this family is the dispatcher family. This family is the person that are driving the trucks. So we're all eating in the truck industry. You know who does that really well? Every other group besides Black group. Black people, and especially Chinese. Chinese have made billions of dollars on Black people. The hair industry. If you think about the hair industry, Chinese people and just Asian period have made billions of dollars on the hair industry. And we could say, oh, they starved us out. We couldn't even get in there because most of the things that we use is coming from China. But why is that? Why is the things that we use come from China? Stop buying from China. Wouldn't you say stop buying from China? If you got a hair weave or a wig, why are you buying it from China? Why wouldn't you buy it from whatever, a local person, or just don't buy it? Hey, it's not made in America or blah blah blah. It's not made in a country that supports or bring these dollars in. Why even support that particular product or service? Because they're not bringing or keeping the dollars in your community. So power economics, I believe it's chapter 3 or chapter 4. It's talk about ethno aggregation, and it's basically we take over one industry, and everybody in that industry, they serve their purpose, but they pull everybody up. Everybody up in that whole particular race dominates that industry. And I believe we can do it. We could do it in the music industry. We also could do it in the hair industry. But if we have to come together in that. And there's other industries that we could do that as well. But anyway, I'm not gonna talk more about that. One thing I just want to cover, you guys put in a comment, let me know what you feel or how you feel about unity in the Black community. That rhymed, and I didn't mean to make it rhyme. Let me know how you feel about that, and put in the comments how you feel about. Do you agree that FANI Willis, District Attorney, Assistant District Attorney Adrian Love, was she really out of pocket, or I'm just like being sensitive? But I think she was out of pocket. I think he should have held her in contempt of court. It's so many ways that you could get your point across. But that back and forth after he made his ruling, that's ridiculous. That to me, that's totally disrespectful. So one last thing I want to cover, and I'm going to send my condolences out to this individual. There was a police officer shot in Chicago. Officer Luis Huesca shot and killed while returning home from work. And this was Sunday morning. This officer was shot. Let me see. Why is it not playing? I don't know why. I don't know why NBC never plays. Anyway, something's wrong with my setting. Anyway, it says a Chicago police officer was shot and killed while driving home from work over the weekend, sparking a large investigation as authorities work to determine what exactly happened. 30-year-old Officer Luis Huesca was found gunned down in Chicago Gage Park neighborhood early Sunday morning. And it says, here's what they know so far. According to officials, officers responded to a gunshot detection alert at 2:53 a.m. in the 5500 block of South Kedzie Avenue. Authorities said after touring the area, officers discovered an off-duty Chicago police officer with gunshot wounds in 3100 block of West 56th Street. Our Alderman Ray Lopez said a shot spotter alert went out just before 3 a.m. The shot spotter notification went out before the 911 call came out. He said that helped us locate and find him. And they're talking about getting rid of shot spotter. Shot spotter, that's why they given the mayor a bunch of pushback. Not only it serves the purpose of locating where the shots actually took place at, but then you have victims that might be dead or injured in the street. And before, like they said, before even 911 call was placed, they was able to locate the victim. Okay. Officers found Huesca near his home, reporting that he has been shot several times. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. Huesca was on his way home after a shift at the time of the shooting. Officials said he was in uniform and his vehicle was taken following the shooting. Okay. So they knew he was an officer of the law because he was in a uniform, and they stole his car. Maybe it's a gang. I don't remember. You guys remember Preston? Her last name Preston. She lost her life in Chicago. I believe her last name killed. Ariana Preston. Remember her. She was killed coming home. I can't remember if they found her vehicle. I believe her gun was taken from her though. The officers was wearing a uniform, but he had something covering it up. Superintendent Larry Snelling said, "We're still at the preliminary stages right now. Police are investigating the circumstances of the shooting, including whether the incident began as a carjacking, according to officials. What we do know is that the officer's vehicle was taken, but to get to the total motive of what happened, we need to know more information, and the detective division is working on that." And so they said he worked in the same district where Officer Ariana Preston was shot and killed last year. He's a 6-year veteran, was just 2 days shy of his 31st birthday. The shooting comes 13 months after Andres Vasquez Lasso, who was killed on March the 1st, with responding to a domestic disturbance call on 5200 block. And so they were saying that Andres was the epitome of the American dream because he came over to the country looking for a way to move forward, making societal differences, stepped away from mediocrity, and did what others would not do in their lifetime and actually succeeded in this country. He's one of those guys that actually deserve this star. That's when they was paying tribute. Okay, so we're just gonna send out our condolences to this family. It's always sad. It's sad when anybody is losing their life, um, whether it be police or just a normal citizen. That is really sad. But when you lose your life to like a criminal violent, I think it's unnecessary. It's an unnecessary cause of death. Okay. Brandon Johnson, of course, he's sending. He says we are deeply mourning the death of Officer Huesca of the 5th District Priority Response Team following the act of unconscionable gun violence in our city. No family or community should ever have to suffer the pain. I met with the officer's mother and uncle this morning and assured them that they have the full support of my administration as they deal with the unspeakable loss. Our city is grieving, and our condolences go out to their entire family as well as the Louise fellow officers and community. My office and community safety is collaborating in collaboration with Superintendent Larry Snelling and the Chicago Police Department, is committed to putting every resources available toward apprehending anyone involved in this morning's shooting and bringing them to justice. As the investigation continues, we will provide immediate updates as it becomes available. Okay. And so Governor Pritzker, he had something to say on X. He's saying a terrible loss as we cope with the death of our officer, who was just 2 days shy of his 31st birthday, thinking of his family, fellow officers, as we mourn the passing of the dedicated officer. May his memory be a blessing and his service never forgotten. So I just wanted to cover that. And actually, like I said, that shot spotter, they're trying to get rid of that in Chicago. The mayor and some of the aldermen is saying that it serves no purpose, but apparently it does serve a purpose. It serves purposes, even though they lost, a police officer. But if they didn't have ShotSpotter, they wouldn't have been able to find him. Nobody would have called. They probably wouldn't even notice that he was out there because it was early in the morning. So anyway, you guys, let me know. Put in the comments what you think about that. Let me get to some of your comments. Kennard the DJ, with Black people, it's all about the dollar. You're absolutely right. Lexi, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like it is now in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. No. Jennifer Rice, he's not lying. Both times I was robbed, it was from my family. I'm laughing because it sounds crazy. Yeah, both times I was robbed, it was from somebody that I knew. Somebody, in the hood. I told you guys that story. My homegirl, she used to live in the hood, like borderline Southfield, Detroit, but she lived on the Detroit side. She kept on getting robbed. And this supposed to be a family-oriented neighborhood. It was just some niggas just looking at her when she left to work, and they just went into her crib. And and she was living by herself at the time. She wasn't married then. So that probably was part of the reason, because when they see a man, they think twice about going into somebody's house. They're more apprehensive. Okay, if I go into this house, I'm going to encounter some type of fight. So it would deter robbers from doing that. John Kirby said, Godfrey better shut up. He ain't about that life. Apparently he's not. Verna Welch, thank you for tuning in from Wiley, Texas. Jennifer Rice, I thought weave contains graphene oxide like blunts, meat, etc. Just saying, but I digress. We if you notice, I stopped getting weave in my hair. I'll throw a wig on in a minute. I mean, most of the time, most of the time I wear my natural hair and straighten out or something like this because I just washed it. But I don't know if you guys noticed that when you get your hair braided, if your hair is itchy, it's probably because it got some type of chemical in it. I mean, I stopped getting my hair braided because it was getting so irritated about, I think it's the chemicals of what they process it with. Samuel Matthews, I can't believe she wasn't held in the contempt of court. Yeah, I can't believe that either. Clara Reyna, if Black will be unified, the Democrat Party won't exist. Good point. Some people think the Democrat Party would still exist if Black folks, if racism, if they wasn't pandering racism to all the Black folks, they're gonna put you back in chains. Like, what? They're gonna put us back in chains. Like, I highly doubt that will happen. Okay, but some people think like, oh, they're gonna put you back in chains if you don't vote Democrat. So it's one of the things that the Democrats tend to play on your feelings. Just to get a little bit off subject, I was in this room. I don't know. I believe I saw one of my viewers in this same room over, I think it was Friday or Saturday, something like that. It might have been Thursday. I think it was Thursday. And the room was about, I forget what the title is, but Negroism or something like that. But it was very anti-Trump or anti-Republican or anti-conservatism. Okay, so it was, if you lean any way, if you talk anything about, hey, I tend to vote conservative or whatever, they were really mad. So it was so funny because I got up on stage and they asked me, okay, I voted for, I've been voting Democrat. And then eventually during the pandemic, it kind of slightly changed my views, even though I voted Republican before, but most of the time I vote Democrat, but I stay in the middle of the road. But when I said, yeah, I probably vote for Trump this year, not probably, I think I said I'll be voting for Trump this year. And I started naming the points of why I was voting for Trump. They got so mad at me that I said I voted for Trump, but they didn't hear nothing of my reasons why. And I thought they were pretty legitimate reasons because I talked about the PPP loans, the SB economic injury disaster loans. I talked about how I tried to get in contact with some of my Democratic representative and I couldn't get no contact. But guess who contacted me when I reached out to a Republican person? And so I made those points. Then I made the point about, hey, the taxes, if you're in real estate, Donald Trump put together that tax, that accelerated tax depreciation, that if you're into real estate, that really benefited a lot of people if you're in real estate. And I was making different points about, but they didn't hear nothing about that. All they heard is you voting for Trump, and they was mad as hell. So I used the word emotional. And I was like, you guys are pretty emotional. And then they got even madder. You're gaslighting me. And they were calling me names. I was like, and I was real calm. And then they said, oh, you trying to act like you better than me. I was like, no, I'm not. Because I didn't use any cuss words. I don't like using cuss words when I'm trying to get my point across. And I tend to talk just like I talk monotone most of the time. So I tend to talk monotone because I don't want to get excited, because I don't want you to think that I'm, trying to, get mad at you. So they were so mad at me because I talked in a monotone voice, and then I was not using any profanity. So they, by the end of the conversation, I ended up leaving, but I came back and I was like, well, yeah, I never really ran from a fight because, and so they was like, oh yeah, drag this hoe. I was like, are you serious? I thought it was comical. I really thought it was comical. Only reason why I thought it was comical is because back to our point of unifying. Even though we might not agree on certain things of how to get there, we most of the times we do have the same point of view. You don't even in the political space, even if you don't agree that you should vote for this particular person. Usually when you voting for a particular person, you have some type of view or whatever. You shouldn't. You shouldn't name call a person when you find that out. If you're talking about politics, you shouldn't be calling this person a name because they decided to vote for one person over or the other. Now, if it's your family, okay, you be like, that's kind of crazy. You're gonna vote for so and so because he did this and this and this. And if they get excited about it, okay, usually politics, you get all emotional, but come on now. Why you're a person that you don't know and you're calling them names? I thought it was really odd for a person to do that. But Black folks do that. They call each other names. And even on one point, I start talking about real estate and why they was going through my Twitter. Oh, why do you put that about Donald Trump? And I was like, well, if you really think about real estate, if you go in to purchase a real estate or try to refinance your real estate because you want to pull the money out, usually you get an independent evaluator to appraise the real estate. When the bank sends it over, they just put the dollar amount, A, B, C, D, and they put the dollar amount next to the appraisal. Then they'll put the date when they appraise it. They don't give you the name. And then you pick, oh, I want a sooner appraiser and it's going to cost me X amount of dollars. That's what happens. And then the guy was on the thing was like, oh, how many properties you own? Well, I do own property, but that's not my point. I've been through enough times to go to the bank and get appraisal for real estate, even if I don't own a commercial property. It happens on regular properties. This is the thing that they do. So it's just like they didn't understand, or they couldn't fathom me disagreeing or having a different point of view than them. And these were all Black folks. And they were calling me names and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, like I said, unity is not our thing. I wish we were better at unity. Jennifer Rice, you're saying Jennifer Rice, cops used to go through training, pass tests, mostly be physical fit. I know we get 300-pound cops that can't move out of their own way. Yeah. Okay, you guys, that was it for our live stream. I really appreciate every single last one of you for tuning in. Remember, you want to follow that Chawanne Burns 2.0 channel. We're close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you could do me a solid, go to this channel and subscribe. We're reaching 1,000 subscribers on that channel. Okay. So tomorrow, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but same time tomorrow at 1:30. I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you tomorrow.